Hello everyone, I wanted to just weigh in on the Runescape microtransactions scandal that is being discussed among Runescape players and put in my own 2 pence into the debate. I've been playing Runescape since 2003 and during that time I've seen a lot of change, from playing Runescape Classic to Runescape 2 to Runescape 3 and so on. One of the things that I have certainly noticed from the beginning is that Jagex has always struggled to communicate with players. They're very good at saying what you want, but we don't actually listen to what you want. And most people would have no real issue with microtransactions or Treasure Hunter if it didn't damage the integrity of the game. Cosmetic items, costumes, emotes, stuff that doesn't actually affect the gameplay. But when you have people winning 200 million GP, winning XP and bonus XP, and as has happened in recent years, winning armor and weaponry that frankly shouldn't even be won through microtransactions, things have gone too far. Jagex initially stated that the extra money would pay for further development of the game, yet we are 10 weeks after the last update, where the only things that have actually been significantly changed are the promotions on Treasure Hunter. It's important to note that Jagex make a lot of money too. If you go to Company's House, which is a government website, you can see their company accounts. They have to provide it annually. If you drop down to page 14 on the 2018 accounts, and you'll see that in 2018 they made £45.1 million in pure profit. If you go a little bit further up on this page, you'll see that the turnover is £92.8 million as well. Now, in their evidence to the UK Parliament Select Committee, who were investigating loot boxes and games of chance and how microtransactions fit into all of that with various games, Jagex stated that a third of their revenue is from microtransactions, which, given that their revenue is £92.8 million, means that they received nearly £31 million in microtransactions alone. So what Jagex has done and proven in evidence to the Select Committee is that they are not a poor independent game studio that is struggling to survive, and so it needs people like you and I to pay money to keep it afloat. It isn't an independent game studio that's very poor, and it doesn't need money to keep it afloat, and that is a frankly terrible excuse. It's all about pure greed, and trying to milk the last remaining remnants of RS3 players before the game dies within the next 5 years. You can see that the game is dying. Now, a number of updates in the past has had an effect on that, i.e. the removal of free trade in the wilderness and EOC, but microtransactions has also been a factor in that. I remember the days when RuneScape had 1500 plus on every server, and it was a struggle sometimes to even get into the game. But now it struggles to even make 200 players on every server. In fact, there's many servers that struggle to make 100 players on a server. The minigames are all dead. The community is almost completely dead. When new players come into the game, all they are seeing is a dead game. A new player who is starting the game is not going to be encouraged to pay for membership when the free-to-play worlds themselves are dead. It's supposed to be a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Now, it's massive in terms of the content. Multiplayer? There's not a lot of multiplayer that tends to happen now. It's very much a single player game, except for maybe boss killing. Gone are the days of clans that would go and PK the wilderness and have massive wars. That's gone now. The game is dying. And rather than perform the life-saving procedures, i.e. taking the financial hit to save the long-term health of the game, Jagex has decided to run it into the ground, destroying the integrity of the game that Andrew Gower, Paul Gower maintained throughout their time at Jagex, and turning RuneScape into essentially a pay-to-win game, where your progress in the game is determined by how many keys you can buy and how many chests you can open up, making it very similar to every other game on the App Store on iPhone that requires you to pay to progress. Now, I've mentioned a lot about integrity of the game, and some might not actually understand what that means. The integrity of a game is one where it is not too easy, not too difficult, but not too easy, and that people's progress in that game is based on their ability to compete in the game or complete the game, but also that their wealth and their status outside the game does not affect the game itself. It's kind of the ideal that anybody can become good at the game with enough time playing it, rather than anybody can become good enough at the game by paying as much as they can. It's very important that game integrity is maintained, because if you don't feel a sense of achievement by completing the game and playing the game, then what is the point in playing the game? And players are making that decision currently with RuneScape 3, as Jagex has put aside their integrity in pursuit of greed. That is the evidence that you can see from their accounts. They are making huge amounts of profit at our expense. Now, I don't know what the future holds, but a company that doesn't care, doesn't listen, doesn't respond, doesn't communicate with players and long-term loyal customers, frankly, is unsustainable. The game currently is unsustainable. Long-term players are leaving. They are not being replaced. Mobile will not change this. And for those of you who have left RuneScape 3 and are playing old school, do not be surprised that when RuneScape 3 dies, Jagex will force microtransactions onto old school. Jagex can't be trusted, and they will force microtransactions on old school if RuneScape 3 dies, and you will not get a say in that. Anyway, let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and tell me how much life you think RuneScape 3 has got left. I hope Jagex changes. I don't think that they will.